Necessity, a short story by Jared I. McGee. Show me a hero, and I'll write you a tragedy. It's quite simple, really. Achilles has to die. Hercules needed to depart this life writhing in pain. We can't have gods of men walking the earth faultless and shining. We need them to rust. Whether it be a sex scandal for a politician that sees them going into a very public tailspin, or a superstar athlete being caught cheating and then whining about being held accountable, humans love to see the tarnishing of celestial ones. That is exactly why the fall of Ben Winton was delectable. Winton was an all-star athlete in high school. He was voted class president, a team captain 5 times over, and prom king. In college, he could do no wrong. Fraternities asked him to join. He got the lead in plays. He was a starting quarterback. Women asked him out. After the cradle of academia, Winton, unlike the vast majority of his 20-something peers, knew what he wanted to do. So, with unabashed confidence, he tried out for a regional talent show. He won. He toured the Northeast for 6 months until he got tired of his stint as a rock star. With the money from his big win and his gigs, Winton bought a small sailboat and left the mainland for a while. He hit Nantucket first, then he headed down the East Coast, hopping from small, inhospitable island to the next, roughing it and trying to find a deeper meaning to his life. Winton made it all the way to the Virgin Islands where, upon being on St. Croix for 3 nights, he met a minor noble of the Danish monarchy, a beautiful young woman with red gold hair of Arthurian legend named Astrid that spent most of her non-monarchical time gracing the covers of Vogue, Elle, and other magazines for the pretty and the trendy. Together, it was said, the pair shone like twin galaxies, full of so much light that others could only look at them from afar and dream of what such heavenly creations might hold. Their whirlwind romance pushed Winton to leave his boat in dock and head off to Scandinavia, seeing Norway, Sweden, and Finland before flying to the southwest of Spain and slowly snaking their way across Europe. They terminated their trip when they hit Bangkok, citing a need for Winton to return back to the United States. His grandfather was ailing, and Winton could not even begin to imagine not being there for his hero, the patriarch of his family and their nice little northeastern town. Astrid, of course, understood. Upon his return, though, Winton began to experience hardships. First, Delta lost his bag somewhere over the Atlantic. He was magnanimous. The rental car he booked was accidentally given to someone else. He would have to take the train home. He took the high road, smiled, and bought his ticket. As a result, he arrived at his home 3 hours after his grandfather passed away. He began to cry. Winton generally took a your body is a temple approach to life, rarely drinking, never smoking, and drugs, well, drugs were wholly out of the question for a man that looked as if he were carved directly from a block of granite. For today, he would make a small concession. Winton went straight to a local dive to lose himself in drink and in memories of better times. Stella's wasn't truly a dive. Rich white kids swarmed the place every weekend, coming home from college to ask mommy and daddy for a larger stream from their trust funds. Tuesday night, however, is not a big night for Stella's. This was to Winton's liking. He found a booth in the far corner of the room, put on as many of his grandfather's favorite songs as there were on the jukebox, and ordered a bottle of Jack with a glass. The bartender complied with no question. How could she say no to that face? Was her simple, small-town, used-up, grasping girl answer to that request. Vanessa sashayed into the room like a cold wind that sneaks up in late August. She hit the bar, took a shot, and continued to whisk around the room, running her eyes against the general emptiness. Quickly, Winton locked his eyes with hers. If that smile was any indicator, she clearly remembered him from high school. He seemed to remember her worshiping him back then. Then again, most girls did. Hell, most girls did now. More people were coming in her wake, but Vanessa still slinked sultrily toward him, never deviating as a flash mob of a Tuesday night crowd descended at random on the kitschy juke joint bar. Winton finished his bottle with very little help from Vanessa. They went to the bathroom, and he fucked her in the ass. Unfortunately, she was on her period. Vanessa left pretty quickly. He thought this was because he was quick to finish. He tried to call her with the number she'd given him early on in the night, but his drunken fingers found Astrid's number instead. His drunken mouth blabbed about not really being into anal sex, and how he usually lasted longer. With that, he closed the door on being a true king someday. He ordered another bottle, but the bartender wouldn't oblige this time. He realized he smelled of a mixture of cum, sweat, shit, and whiskey. As he passed, the still burgeoning crowd quieted, everyone noticing this hero's current state of disarray. He decided he did not care. He thought about how cathartic this must be for them. Winton stumbled out of Stella's after 3 hours, truly feeling for the first time in his life. His benevolence and nobility ripped from him and those closest to him now lost, he walked with an ever-quickening pace toward the highway. Ben Winton was just 25 years old when he walked into oncoming traffic on the interstate. He was a natural runner and an accomplished athlete, so it was not hard for him to launch himself into traffic with a deftness that ensured the drivers could not miss him. Rather than cry or wail or mourn, they laughed, albeit behind closed doors, behind the backs of hands guised as yawns. The whole town came out to see his funeral. His former lovers came to gape at his ruined and rebuilt papier-mâché body, even the princess. What happens when perfection and love serve as the hamartia, or at least the catalyst for such a distinction, for a golden god? It makes the fall even better for those poor common schmucks looking on. Thank you for listening to Necessity, an original short story by Jared I. McGee. The sound effects for Necessity were taken from freesound.org and were created by user Clankbleed. All these sounds are being used under Creative Commons Attributions Share Alike License 3.0. The backing track for Necessity was taken from the Free Music Archive at freemusic.org. This particular track is Featherlight, remix and vocals by Heather Feather, by Lee Rosevere, from the album Music for Podcasts 2, from Happy Puppy Records. More music from Mr. Rosevere is available from the websites of Happy Puppy Records, his Bandcamp site, and the Free Music Archive. You can contact Mr. Rosevere directly at happypuppyrecords@yahoo.com. This music is being used under Creative Commons Share Alike Attribution Non-Commercial 4.0 International CC BY NC 4.0 license. A sincere thank you to both artists for their contributions, and another thank you to both freesound.org and the Free Music Archive for providing two amazing communities of artists that set out to help one another through the sharing of their art. As always, keep your eyes peeled for the next short story from Jared I. McGee.